Education in Slovakia consists of a free education system based on 10 years of compulsory school attendance. General characteristics. Most schools, especially universities, are owned by the state, though since the 1990s there are also church-owned and private schools. Slovakia has 10 years of compulsory education. Students go to school 5 days a week, from Monday until Friday. Saturdays as school days were cancelled before the 1980s. Summer break is from the 1st of July until the end of August. Other breaks occur a week around Christmas and Easter, in spring, and on official holidays. A school year consists of 2 semesters. The first one ends at the end of January in all schools, the second one before the beginning of the summer holidays. Primary and secondary school students usually have around 6 classes a day. Classes last for 45 minutes, and the state-financed education and all textbooks and instructional material below the university level are free, in most cases at least. However, there are also private schools which are paid. Students at standard schools receive marks in almost all subjects. The marks go from 1 to 5, and may include unofficial intermediary marks such as to assess a single project, test, etc., but never on students' final reports. Compared to Western European countries, there is an intrinsic tradition of teachers granting students rather more marks at the good end of the scale, i.e., more 1s, 2s and 3s than they would receive in Western Europe. For example, students below the university level receive school reports at the end of each semester. All state-run educational institutions have suffered from a lack of funding since the fall of communism, i.e., from the early 1990s onward. School fees for university-level schools have been prepared for years, but the parliament has been unable to pass legislation requiring them due to strong citizen opposition. Many state-financed schools of higher education finance themselves by means of various semi-legal, extraordinary, and auxiliary fees, etc. Corruption is a widespread problem in academic circles. Despite the current lack of money, primary and secondary education is at a quite high level compared to many countries of the world. A major deficiency is insufficient promotion of independent thinking and student initiative, a complete absence of creative learning, unreformed and outdated teaching material, methods and syllabi inherited from the former communist educational system, and relatively low remuneration of teachers, leading to a decrease of the number of qualified teachers especially below the university level. University-level schools, unable to provide sufficient pay to get real experts and motivated teachers, are rather mediocre compared to other countries, usually promote pure swatting and use outdated texts and other material. Some reforms of all educational levels, including the introduction of school fees for universities, are said to be in preparation and could be carried out after the next parliamentary elections. Nonetheless, Slovakia has thus far managed to avoid the excessive brain drain that has plagued most post-Soviet states. History. C. Education in Czechoslovakia and list of colleges and universities in Slovakia system. Primary education. Primary schools are usually preceded by kindergartens where children can spend up to 4 years, which in turn can be preceded by day nurseries. As a rule, children start the primary school in the year in which they have their 6th birthday. Standard primary schools last 9 years, however since the early 1990s students can visit 8-year gymnasium, after 5 years on primary school. The primary education system is formally divided in 2 stages. The second stage is characterized by many changes in the subjects treated as compared to the first stage. First, primary education stage age 6 to 10, works as platform for next studies. Second, primary education stage age 10 to 15. This stage can be spent either in a 9-year primary school or in an 8-year gymnasium. Many primary schools have been closed down since about 2000 due to an unfavorable demographic development. Subjects at the second primary education stage include Slovak language and literature, foreign language, mathematics, geography, biology, chemistry, physics, history, religion or ethics, music, drawing, technical education. There are also many facultative primary arts schools, afternoon schools for particular music instruments, theatre, painting etc. These have had a long tradition in Slovakia and are attended by a large majority of pupils. Secondary education. Before entering any school of secondary education for which there are more applicants than places offered, the applicants have to pass entrance examinations. As a rule, secondary schools last for 4 years. A gymnasium can also last for 8 years depending on how many years did the student spend in the primary school. There are 4 types of secondary schools. General education. Gymnasium 4 or 8 years, i.e., age 16 to 19 or age 10 to 18, prepares students for higher education, teaches at least 2 foreign languages. Various vocational schools. Sredna odborná škola, usually age 16 to 19, usually also prepares for higher education. Stredné odborné učiliště, usually age 16 to 19, training. Centers Odrazená stredná škola, usually age 16 to 19, rare. The gymnasia are usually considered prestigious schools because they explicitly prepare for higher education and because they are often highly selective. Only the brightest students from elementary schools advance to them. In fact, most students who attend them later continue their education at a school of higher education in Slovakia or abroad. The high schools that are the most competitive ones are usually located either in Bratislava, etc., in Košice or in other main cities. These schools annually accept only a very low percentage of applicants. Despite providing general education, many gymnasia have specialized classes. Some of them specialize in languages or are even bilingual, Slovak, German, English, French etc. Others are specialized in mathematics or computer programming, for example Gamka and Gymnasium Dura Runka. Gamka is notable for being founded in 1626, which is exactly 113 years after the gymnasium in Levelka was founded in 1513. After finishing secondary school, students usually take a school-leaving exam, which is a basic prerequisite for visiting a school of higher education, especially a university. Before 1990 this included obligatory exams in mathematics, Slovak INCL, literature and Russian, and in one subject of the student's choice. After 1990, the system was changed, so that every school prepared its own tests and questions, at gymnasia in the subjects. Slovak INCL, literature, a foreign language, 2 subjects of the student's choice. The obvious problem of this system was low or missing comparability of the results. The Maturita system was modified in 2005 again. The new system is supposed to replace the current entrance examinations to schools of higher education in the future. The main changes are: 1 additional exam subject, nationwide unified written tests for languages and mathematics, a high degree of standardization of other exams, as well as the possibility for the student to choose whether they want to pass an A-level exam, a B-level exam or a C-level exam. At gymnasia, the exam subjects include Slovak INCL, literature, a foreign language, a natural science subject, and 2 other subjects of the student's choice. Details in Slovak. Higher education. The Slovak term, vysoká škola, which for lack of other expressions is also translated into English as college, can refer to all schools of higher education, or in a narrower sense only to those schools of higher education that are not universities. The first university on the territory of Slovakia was the Universitas Istropolitana, founded in 1465. The main and largest current university in Slovakia is the Comenius University. For other current universities and colleges, see List of colleges and universities in Slovakia. The 2002 Act on Schools of Higher Education distinguishes public, state, and private schools of higher education. Public schools of higher education are the basic case. They are established by law. The vast majority of schools of higher education is of this type. They are financed by the government in possible business activities. State institutions of higher education are all military, police and medical schools. They are established through the corresponding ministries of the government. They are financed by the government in possible business activities. Private institutions of higher education are established and financed by non-government institutions, but approved by the Ministry of Education. This type of school is still quite rare. Studies at the state and public universities is available free of charge for residents of Slovakia and of the EU. School fees are being planned. However, other students have to pay from $2,500 United States dollars to $6,500 United States dollars for one academic year before entering any school of higher education for which there are more applicants than places offered. The applicants have to pass entrance examinations. These examinations take very different forms at particular schools. The maturity results of the applicant are usually also taken into account when evaluating whether he can become student of the school. Since the number of branches of study and of schools of higher education increased considerably in the course of the late 18th century, the general percentage of those not being accepted to these schools decreased considerably over the same time period. Also, an increasing number of Slovaks studies abroad, especially in the Czech Republic due to a low language barrier, a slightly better economic situation in that country, as well as similarities of the two educational systems. As a result, the percentage of Slovaks with higher education has increased considerably over the last decade. The studies are organized within the following study programs and stages. Each school must provide at least Stage 1. Stage 1. Bachelor study program, 3 to 4 years. Title: Bachelor. Stage 2, or Stage 1 plus Stage 2. Master's study program. Title: Master in Art Studies. Master of Arts, Engineer Study Program. Title: Engineer in Architecture, Engineer of Architecture. Doctor Study Program. Titles: in Human Medicine, Doctor of Medicine, B. in Veterinary Medicine, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, C. in Dental Medicine, Doctor of Neonatal Medicine, studying since 2010. Stage 2/3. Doctor after writing a rigorous thesis and passing of viva voce and rigorous exam R. in Natural Science, Doctor of Natural Sciences, B. in Pharmacy, Doctor of Pharmacy, C. in Social Sciences and Art Sciences, Doctor of Philosophy, D. in Law Studies, Doctor of Laws, E. in Teaching and P. Studies, Doctor of Pedagogy, F. in Theology, Doctor of Theology. Stage 3. Doctorand Study Program, 3 to 4 years. Titles: Basic title, Philosophy, a Doctor, B. in Art Studies, Doctoratus, C. in Catholic Theology, Licentiate of Theology, or Doctor of Theology. Specialization Studies in Medicine. The Act on Schools of Higher Education 2002 distinguishes university-type schools of higher education. They provide study programs at all three stages and with a considerable proportion of the second and third stage. Only these schools are allowed to use the word university in their name. Non-university type schools of higher education equals professional schools of higher education. These are the remaining schools. The academic year begins on the 1st of September of the current year and ends on the 31st of August of the next year. The studies in one academic year may be divided into 2 semesters or rarely in 3 trimesters. The teaching process includes various forms of instruction such as lectures, seminars, exercises, laboratory work, projects, practical training, consultations, etc. The credit system, following the rules of the European Credit Transfer System, has been introduced in 1998 for the organization of all levels and forms of higher education study. The student's standard load is expressed by the number of 60 credits per academic year and 30 credits per semester. The School of Higher Education determines the total number of credits required for due completion of the study in its respective stages. Financing problems of schools of higher education are described in the introduction.